Hello all Year 9 students. Today's lesson is on sustainable management of the tropical rainforest. Any work that you do in this lesson should be given back to your individual geography teacher. So last lesson you should have watched the video about palm oil. You will therefore understand that the production of palm oil is causing the mass deforestation of areas. Therefore, we need to manage these areas. In today's lesson then, you will be looking at how to manage tropical rainforests sustainably. So what do we mean by managing sustainably? Well, this is something you should have looked at in a previous topic that we have done. This topic being sustainable urban living, and the example of Curitiba from the urban issues and challenges topic. So this is a bit of knowledge retrieval in terms of that. So if you're not quite familiar and you've forgotten, it's basically meaning meeting our needs today without compromising future generations. So we need to make sure that what we do now does not ruin the rainforest for future people and wildlife. So in this lesson, we'll be looking at how to manage this sustainably. So here are some ways to manage the tropical rainforest. Your task is going to be to try and match up the definitions with the key words. So the key words, first of all, are agroforestry. Now this sounds very similar to agribusiness that you looked at in another topic. Then we've got education, selective logging, monitoring, afforestation, and forest reserves. So when you see these definitions, you need to match these with the keywords. So number one, ensuring those involved in exploitation and management of the forest understand the consequences behind their actions. So put number one and decide which one of these words you think this is the definition for. Pause this if you need a little bit of extra time, but no worries if you want to continue. Number two, growing trees and crops at the same time. This lets farmers take advantage of shelter from the canopy of trees. It also prevents soil erosion and the crops benefit from the nutrients from the dead organic matter. Number three, the opposite of deforestation. If trees are cut down, they are replaced to maintain the canopy. Number four, trees are only felled, cut, when they reach a particular height. This allows young trees a guaranteed lifespan and the forest will regain full maturity after around 30 to 50 years. Number five, use of satellite technology and photography to check that any activities taking place are legal and follow guidelines for sustainability. Number six, areas protected from exploitation. So number one, the answers now, was education. Number two was agroforestry. Number three was afforestation. Number four was selective logging. Number five was monitoring. And number six was forest reserves. So we're now going to put those back on the screen for you to just familiarise yourself with those answers. Your task now is going to be to pause the video once I've explained what you need to do and have a go at this task. So you need to explain which you think is the best option and why. Have a think about saying why you didn't choose any other options, and would any of these options perhaps have worked together? Now you may pause the video to give yourself some time just to have a go at this task. So you're explaining which you think is the best and why, and say why you didn't choose one of the other options, and would any of these options work together? Such as, would education work quite nicely with a different way to manage the rainforest sustainably? So please now pause the video. Okay, so you've had some time now once you pause the video to have a go at that task. Some examples of positive and negatives of these options. So I'm going to give you some examples now for you. So you've had a go at that task now. I want to give you some positive and negatives of these options. You may have some of your own, but these are just some you can work through for the next task that we're going to do. So firstly, education. Teaching locals about alternative ways to make money that don't damage the environment as much means that they won't be dependent on unsustainable options, which is a great way so they're not reliant on an option that could perhaps run out in the future. But there is a chance that people may not take on board what has been taught. Afforestation. It is important that the types of trees are replanted to match the ones that are cut down. So we need to make sure that if we are replanting, that they are matching the trees that have been taken away from that area. Selective logging. This is less damaging to the forest than clearing a whole area. The canopy remains and the soil is not exposed, and if the soil is exposed, that can lead to runoff of nutrients so that all that nutrients is washed away. And forest reserves, areas protected from exploitation. This can be hard to manage. So, we've had a go now at looking at some management strategies. You're going to look at a past example question. So evaluate strategies that could be used to manage the TRF. Now the TRF is the tropical rainforest. So to answer this question, we need to use bug. That's boxing the command word. In this sense, it is evaluate. Underline the keyword, so that could be strategies, manage, and tropical rainforests. And then don't forget to glance or look back at the question regularly as you write to make sure that you're on track. So we need to evaluate, so that's judged from available evidence. So we have been through the evidence together relating to this question, which is management strategies, and we've looked at some positive and negatives of those as well. So you need to draw on some of these in your answer. So just a bit of guidance for writing this. You need to give at least 2 to 3 examples in your answer, that's a minimum. Explain what these examples are. So don't just say that it, for example, is afforestation. Explain what it is. And then include some positive and negatives about these options. And then include a short conclusion. So once you've had a go at writing this, you need to then submit this back to your geography teacher. Thank you.